Most families don't avoid talking about legacy because they don't care. They avoid it because no one ever showed them how. And that silence costs families more than money. It costs clarity, it costs peace, and sometimes it even costs relationships. Most families don't fall apart because of money. They fall apart because they never talked about meaning. And if you're watching this around the holidays when families are gathering, sitting around tables, sharing meals, this episode is for you. Because what if that table wasn't just a place for food, but a place for clarity? What if it became your family boardroom? Today, I want to walk you through 12 legacy building conversations every family should start having today. But not all at once, not under pressure, but intentionally over time. Before we go further, I have a quick ask. If this kind of conversation matters to you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who you feel would benefit from hearing it. It really helps families find clarity, and that's why we're here. This episode is sponsored by Reese Francis Studios, helping families and organizations preserve and tell stories that matter most. From photography, videography, to full post-production, Reese Francis Studios captures legacy with intention. Click the show notes below and you'll find the link. Why these conversations matter. These are not financial conversations. They're human conversations. They're about identity and values and meaning and responsibility and even continuity. And here's the truth. Inheritance requires instruction. Legacy requires clarity. And clarity doesn't come from documents alone. It comes from dialogue. So let's talk about identity before assets. The first conversation is, who are we? And where do we come from? Because legacy starts with story. If your children don't know your story, they'll inherit your assets without context. Where did we come from? What did earlier generations endure? What did they have to go through to get us here? What shaped us? This isn't just about genealogy, charts, and family trees. It's about grounding and determination and resilience. Conversation 2. What do our names mean? Literally. Names carry responsibility. Who were you named after and why? What does your family name represent, privately and publicly? Look them up. Put them together, first, middle, last. One day, someone will decide what your name stood for, so you should know what your name stands for. Conversation 3. What are our core family values? Values are decision filters. When emotions run high, and they will, values guide how families decide. One exercise that I really like is using your family name as an acrostic, assigning a value to each letter. It reveals alignment and differences, and both matter. So take your time and choose them wisely after great conversation. Conversation 4. What do we own that has ancestral value? Heart value. Not everything has a price tag. Some things have the heart value, and those things are priceless. Heirlooms like jewelry and artwork, pottery, photography, dishes, furniture. You may have homes and businesses, but you also have traditions. games you play on special occasions, family songs, holiday traditions. If no one explains why something matters, the next generation won't have any reason to protect it. Conversation 5. What is our family legacy? Because legacy isn't what you leave to people, it's what you leave in them. Legacy, by definition, is what you want future generations to say about you. So be intentional. Talk about what you want the family legacy to be and how you want it to be handed down. Conversation 6. How are we improving our community? Legacy doesn't stop at your front door. Where do you give your time, your resources, your influence, your talents? This is where families move from consumption to contribution. But let me pause here and say this. You don't need to have all 12 of these conversations at once. You can have one per gathering, one per holiday, one per year. The key here is progress over pressure. And so when we're talking about planning without pressure, we find conversation number 7. What is our plan for future impact? Intentions fade without planning, so where do we see ourselves in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? What type of impact do we want to have as individuals, as a family? Are we going to build a business? Do we have a mission statement that drives us forward? Are we developing a property strategy in a neighborhood or a community? This type of planning is vital because planning like that is really an act of love. Conversation 8, what assets do we own? This isn't about valuation. Right now it's about awareness. What exists? What's documented? What's digital? Clarity today prevents confusion later. What digital assets do we have in this new era, and how do we pass them down? Conversation number 9. What is our money mindset? Unspoken beliefs about money create future conflict. It talks scarcity versus stewardship, or spending versus saving, or giving versus accumulating. If you don't talk about money beliefs now, they will surface later under a great deal of stress. In the next part, let's talk about structure that protects relationships. So conversation 10. Who is on our professional team? No family navigates legacy alone. It's important for the family to share who they rely on for key advice. So who are our attorneys, medical professionals, financial advisors? Who are real estate professionals that we've worked with and trust? Who contractors, our accountants? Who are the faith leaders we can rely on? What mental health professionals and counselors could be helpful? If the next generation doesn't know who to call, they'll guess. And guessing gets expensive quickly. Conversation 11. What causes and charities do we support? Because giving reflects our values in action. What causes and communities do we support? Where are they? Why are we supporting these causes? Why this mission? How are we going to implement this change? And what is our progression? And what's the vehicle we plan to use? Are we starting a family foundation, using a local nonprofit? Generational giving doesn't happen accidentally, but it has a lasting impact for both family and community. And finally, conversation 12. What is our estate plan? This is where love meets responsibility. Wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and then one concept I deeply believe in, the legacy box. A place for documents and passwords and letters, instructions, stories stored in a secure, fireproof box, safe, or even a safe deposit box. This is how you spare your family unnecessary pain. If this episode resonates, I created a 12 conversations guide you can use with your family. It's designed to be used slowly, at your own pace, without pressure. You'll find the link in the description below. Most families don't regret conversations they had. They regret the ones they avoided. And you don't have to do this perfectly, these conversations. You just have to start. My hope is that we can eliminate the "I wish I had" moments and instead hear more "I'm so glad I did" reflections. Because legacy doesn't happen by accident. It's built one conversation at a time. So I hope if this helped you, you'll subscribe for more conversations about inheritance, legacy, and clarity. I hope you'll download the guide, because inheritance has to come with instructions, and legacies are built with intention. Thank you for the valuable time you've granted me. I hope you'll join me for other conversations. God bless.